back to the Binge MotoPodcast, where fuel, friendship, and full throttle collide. I'm your host, Bryan, and today, buckle up. We've got a guest whose resume reads like a Netflix miniseries. He's a soldier, a dentist, a motorcycle addict, and a Porsche guy who somehow manages to pack floss and horsepower into every trip. This man has seen combat zones, root canals, and the tail of the dragon, all with the same steady hand. He's my riding partner, a legend on legendary trips like our run through the Florida Keys, chasing elevations through the Blue Ridge Mountains, or shredding corners on the Rattler. Ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, give it up for the one and only Doc Jose Peralta, a legend in my mind.
Thank you,
Welcome,
Bryan.
Jose. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bryan. Great intro.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
to be here. Good to be
I
here.
had Alan Iverson wrote that for me. That's my joke for last week.
Yeah.
AI. Yeah.
AI.
He's also, his other nickname was The Answer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. They used to call him The Answer. So I think that's kind of appropriate.
It
Because
is
AI usually has the answer, except for today. I asked it about the Barber vintage race,
vintage, the
and,
vintage
and it gave me nothing.
festival.
It's like here's a quiz about The Godfather. I'm like, that was what I asked you about earlier. So it's not all the way there yet. I'm having some trouble this week. So anyway, welcome to the show. I've got this on our notes here. Like and subscribe, share, send it to a friend. Also, if you're like me and you like audio podcasts, you can find this on anywhere you find your audio podcasts, like Apple or Spotify or Amazon Music or any of those places. Jose and I, we've been friends. We met actually on a group ride
On a group ride
to Cedar Key.
Yeah. We have the same bike.
Yeah, hosted by our
friend John.
Previous guest, John Ross. Yeah. And when we met, we both had the exact same bike. We were both on Bonneville T120s, but not only that, we had the black Ace Cafe edition.
Yeah, limited
edition, numbered models. And
mine was 993. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember what mine was, but mine actually, yours is gone.
Gone.
Yeah, mine now.
That was 3 bikes ago.
Three bikes. We'll get to that in a minute. Mine is with our good friend Bobby.
With Bobby.
Yeah, so he's still got that.
I got some stuff for you, Bobby, from my old bike that you could probably use for spare parts and stuff.
Yeah. So we met on a trip to Cedar Key, which I'll have to tell you like one funny story before we get started. The first memory I actually have of Jose is we're on this trip. I haven't really met him, but he's two up with his wife on their Bonneville.
Yeah.
And we're doing like a long way route to get to Cedar Key, because if you rode straight there, it's just a couple hours, but we went all over Central Florida. And then anyway, at a certain point, our friend Frank, who's I've talked about many times on other shows, but he had just gotten this new Moto Guzzi America.
Yeah.
This big cruiser, heavy, low horsepower.
Yeah.
Beautiful bike, but it's,
too heavy.
It's too heavy. Yeah. And he made a wide turn and just rode right down into a ditch.
Yeah.
And then of course, Jose being heroic, he hops off his bike and runs down there to help. And he's behind him. He's trying to get him unseated. And then all of a sudden
Frank just
hits the throttle and just blasts Jose with mud.
I had mud all over me on the trip.
Yeah. Like that was literally the start of the trip. So
yeah, that was like an hour in of a 6-hour trip.
Yeah. And I hadn't actually really met him or his wife Victoria yet. So got to know them later on that trip. And now you and I have been together on many trips.
That's right.
Yeah. He's my most frequent travel partner.
Yeah.
I'm either alone or I'm with Jose because.
Yeah. Our trips are good because, we match well with spending time together. So, and we'll get into those trips. They've been really, really good. And mostly because you planned them.
Yeah.
I follow along. But yeah, we've had great times. A lot of miles.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about a few of our trips that we've been on and planning and execution and rain and avoidance and all that stuff. And him and I are planning a trip right now. We're going to go to the Barber.
2 trips.
Well, yeah, we're going to go for sure, though. We're definitely going to Barber this year in October.
Barber Vintage Festival.
Yeah, they have they've got a race, like a top quality motorcycle racetrack there. They've got one of the world's best motorcycle museums.
One of the largest museums, yeah.
It's insane. If you've ever seen photos of the inside of that place, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Stories.
Yeah, the bikes are just stacked. They've got like almost every bike ever made just stacked in there. And like
in Alabama.
And in one-off bikes. Yeah, it's in Alabama. It's in Barber, Alabama, not far from
Birmingham.
Okay. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about some TV and movie recommendations. Maybe mix in a little movie review in there later. We'll see. And And then also Jose is a classic car guy. He's had a few
Yeah.
classic cars, so we're gonna get into that too. So hang tight. Let's get started. Where are we gonna start? Yeah. So um, the first trip we've done together is we've done it several times now. We go
Tail of the Dragon.
Tail of the Dragon trip,
Mhm.
right? We just call it the Tail of the Dragon trip, even though we do all kinds of roads.
Chirrahalla. We did a lot of
Yeah, you and I successfully have done the Trail
Yes.
Skyway several times without crashing. No crashing involved.
Yeah.
I can't say that with all my friends, Brandon,
Or cousins.
cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've done it. Do we ever ride up there, or we trail it every time?
We trailed the bike to Atlanta
Yeah, so
because from here to Atlanta is just 6 to 7 hours of just straight riding. There's nothing.
yeah,
So we trailed the bikes.
it's pretty bleak. But
Yeah.
I've done it. I mean, other than when I'm with you, I always
Mhm.
ride. I just ride it.
Mhm.
But yeah, we have trailer. Now, trailering the bikes to me is a little bit. I don't know, something about having the bike on, especially when we had our two bikes side by side on that
Mhm.
trailer and
Mhm.
they were rocking back there. It
Yeah.
gives me a little anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe if we work out a
Well,
better system,
this
dropping them in,
yeah.
or yeah,
This time, if we go ahead and trail, we trailed because we had where to stay in Atlanta.
yeah,
We had where to leave the trailer, the car, and everything.
yeah. It's convenient because I've
It
got
was
we
convenient.
both have family there,
Yeah.
and Jose's family has a nice lot with can hold a trailer. It's
Yep. So we
fenced
put
in.
the car, the trailer, everything fenced in, and then we went riding from there. And we didn't stop. Once we got to Atlanta, we just got off out of the car, got on the bikes, and just kept going. And we went all the way up to first time was it Dahlonega?
Well, we stayed in Dahlonega. The first time we went there, we did stay overnight and then left in the morning.
And then left in the morning.
The last time we were up there, we did keep going into Dahlonega. So if you
Yeah.
guys have been to Georgia, Dahlonega is a cute little town in the middle.
Yeah.
You're already at the foothills of the mountains,
Mhm.
so it's some good riding around there. I mean, it's really only an hour, depending on traffic.
Yeah.
Atlanta traffic.
Atlanta traffic is
That one day that the GPS just taking us on this crazy.
Yeah, it took us to a wrong way.
Yeah, you can't always trust the GPS. I'm like, where are we go? Are we going in a circle? Like we're circling Atlanta right now, but
And that was I think after that trip is when I canceled
Rever.
Rever.
Yeah,
I canceled it.
The Rever app is great for many things. Like planning, it's really good for planning because it has all of the best curvy roads.
Yeah.
And they're highlighted in different colors according to like how curvy they are or not, or how scenic they are. The problem is if you create a route on there and then you try to follow it on your GPS, it doesn't do like Google Maps does. It doesn't just give you a line to follow, and then if you stop somewhere, it just picks back up or whatever.
So
It always tries to make you go back to the part you missed, and I'm like, I don't want to go back.
But
Yeah.
we did have a tremendous adventure because Rever sent us to the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. So on one trip, we were trying to go ride the Rattler, as I mentioned in the opening, and if you're not familiar, it's just one of the named roads. They got all these roads up there have names now. I don't know who gives them the names or whatever, but um, we were going to go to the Rattler on our way to Gatlinburg. We stayed in Gatlinburg that night, and in
And
Tennessee.
it told us get off here and make a right.
Yeah, but at certain, because I had put the Rattler on the route, and I put the hotel at the end of it, so that we could just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And it just said, "Well, that's out of the way," and it just cut that part out, and it had us going straight to the hotel.
Yeah.
So we were
That's cool.
we were on the highway going, man, it says we're going to be there in 15 minutes, but and then so we got off the exit, and I'm looking at the phone, and I'm like, God darn it, like it's going to be an hour back the other way. Oh, it says we can get off this next exit. Let's do that. So we get off the next exit, and
I was on the Bonneville.
You're on the Bonneville T120.
Yeah.
Not exactly an off-road machine.
Not an off-road bike.
I was on the Tracer, right?
The Tracer.
Yeah. Which, as we got off the exit, they had one of those weird cow grates or whatever, where like the
and your
drainage
bike tailed.
My bike
out.
Fishtailed. It was so
that
weird.
was the start of that 45-minute or hour that we took on.
That was the beginning of like a whole series of hilarious events. So yeah, I literally almost just wiped out getting off the exit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
traction control kicked in.
It kicked
really
in.
Good. It kicked in really good.
It straightened me right out. Yeah. Anyway, so then we make the turn, and I'm like, this is not a paved road. This is a mountain road with just gravel, and it was kind of like that trail I rode,
the other day
on the Tiger. Yeah. So we're like, all right, well, it says it's only like 40 minutes this way. It's 2 hours back the other way now because we've gone this far.
Yep.
So we're like,
And,
let's just do it.
and we're in the middle of nowhere, and then this guy comes driving this way. Right?
Yeah.
And he looks at us and he goes, "How do you get out of here?" And we're like, "Well, you're almost at the highway."
Yeah, because is the highway this way? Because he had started at the
He
other way
came the
from the
route
way
we were going to,
Yeah.
and it was just like,
He's
you
like,
could hear the banjos playing in the middle in this place.
he was
And then
like,
he says, "Watch it, there's
I
bears
just
over
saw a
there."
bear back there. Yeah. And we were like, cool, a bear? Of course we didn't find the stupid
We
bear.
didn't see the bear, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was so relieved to see us.
yeah.
Because
So he's like, "Oh, okay, so it's that way." So we keep going, and then we get into this part where it's really downhill dirt, soft, and I'm in the Bonneville, and it says to go that way. And we go,
it can't be that way.
it just can't, because it looks like it went down and
It
then
looks like it went to nowhere.
into nowhere. And we're like, "Nope, let's just go back this
Because
way."
this road at least looks,
It looks
it's graded.
paved,
And so
yeah.
we kept going.
It looked not paved. It looked
Just
like
graded.
compacted dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
So every time we keep going, the GPS keeps giving us more time and more time and more time and more time. So we're like, all right, let's bite the bullet. Let's just go back and take that road. We take the road, and we must have gone maybe a quarter mile, maybe downhill like this and this dirt. And boop, right there is the hard surface, right?
Back on the houses. Yeah.
Everything. It was like,
Yeah, it was like all of a sudden we're back in civilization. Yeah, it was crazy. So that's one of the things you get on a motorcycle. You get in a car, you'd been like, oh, well, I'm on this dirt road. Who cares? But on the bike, we were like, white knuckling the whole way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we want to get it over with. So you want to go a little faster, but also like
You don't want
the
to
bike starts skidding and you're like, well, maybe not,
Yeah, that was part of the great trip. And then, we got to Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
But the fun part was going to the Taylor Drag. I mean, everybody talks about it.
Yeah.
I had never been. So, well, I had never been. I think
Oh, the first time. Yeah.
You had.
I had done it by myself on my Bonneville.
So we're riding, and then we take the tail and we took a bunch of pictures. It's really scenic, beautiful, beautiful. And we get all the way down to the bottom. We're coming from Tennessee, so we get to the North Carolina part, and we get to the bottom, and we're there. And once we're stopped, and I'm really like angst, like, wow, we did it. Such a great trip. I went to hit the kickstand.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I missed it. So I think I hit it. I didn't. So I went to put the bike in. Once we stopped, I just went. Yeah. And fell on the bike.
Yeah, right? So if you've ever been to Taylor Dragon, they've got a big metal dragon holding the motorcycle there.
Yeah.
And everybody goes there for a picture afterwards.
Yeah.
And
so I'm going to take the picture. And
so, of course, there's, 100 people standing around waiting
to take a picture.
And we come pulling in, and then he literally just goes and falls over.
But a lot of people came in and helped us, get the bike up.
And I have somewhere, I don't have to look.
It's probably on video.
I've got it. Because my 360 camera was still running. So I've got it. It was like slow motion. You just kind of went,
So that was the first one. Then we did the tail. Then we did the Key West trip.
Yeah, we went to the Keys together.
Completely the opposite of the mountain trip.
It is.
But just as beautiful.
Yeah, it's a different kind of trip.
Really, really beautiful.
And that trip, you were on
I was on the Kawasaki. I had the Kawasaki then, the Concourse.
Yeah.
Very comfortable bike. Very comfortable.
Powerful.
More than what I thought it was going to be. And I don't know why I got rid of it.
Well, I think you got rid of it because
yeah,
you bought it because you wanted to do trips with your wife, and she was like, "I don't want to do trips."
Yeah, no, she didn't say I want to do trips. She's like, "I'm not getting on that to go to Tennessee. That's why we have cars."
Right.
Like, okay, that's fine. So that's why I got rid of it, and then I got the Yamaha, the MT-09.
MT-09. Yeah, you got a hooligan bike.
I had the hooligan bike, and I give it its full name. I ride it hard. But you know what? The more I ride, the more I notice I ride aggressive to protect myself.
Right.
Because, police doesn't see when you're riding and you're looking and you see two people on their phones. Yeah. And they're just on their phones and they're weaving in and out. So you just cut people off and try to find a spot where you can.
Yeah, I just try to get out of the pack.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the pack, yeah.
But, sometimes you have to speed up a little bit to be able to get.
Yeah, you have to do it. It's
to get away from people. So yeah, sometimes
you're thinking about your wife when you do that.
Yeah,
your kids, your wife. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything. So yeah, sometimes you have to speed. And the
so okay,
the MT-09 is.
So since I've known you, you had the Bonneville. You got the Kawasaki.
Yeah.
And then, well, before you got the Kawasaki, we skipped a bike for for like a week. So he was
for
he was
2 weeks.
overseas on deployment.
I
Yeah.
was on. I was one. I was
And
in one of my
the whole time
deployments,
you're over there on deployment, we're chatting about getting
getting a bike.
getting a concourse or
Yeah.
something, a gold wing or something big like a cruiser.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you go to the store and you buy a brand new,
A DRZ 400.
yeah, like that's a powerful. That's not like a 250. That's a
The
big,
400. So it's an off-road bike that you could use.
like a dual sport.
It's a dual sport with a 400 liter, but it's extremely light.
Yeah.
And I rode motocross since I was 14 to my early 30s.
Yeah.
So I motocrossed all this time. So it's like, yeah, I could use this for both. Now I can go into, and then I started researching and I called John, and John says, "Oh, right there, you have
Croom.
you have Croom, and there's a racetrack. There's a track on Croom, and you can go there." I'm like, "Cool, let's go to Croom." Yeah, not what I thought.
Yeah.
So Croom has a lot of sand, and
That's where we're
we're
finding out.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everywhere's got sand.
deep sand. So it's a motocross, not for a dual sport bike. And I'm getting on that, and I'm coming fast, and I hit a pile of sand, and I over the bars club. And John comes to me. I think I said this story before. John comes to me and he goes, "Are you all right?" And I'm just dirt all over. And I look up and I go, "Yes." He says, "The good news is I think I got it on tape."
Yeah.
And he had it on tape. You can see me flying over the bar because it hit just dirt and just
Yeah. You just high sided it basically. Yeah.
just went over,
Yeah.
boom, and hit the ground. And then I said, "All right, that's it. I'm getting out. I'm getting rid of this bike." I had the bike for like maybe 150 miles
Yeah.
and lost like $3,000 on it when I brought it back.
The guy was like, "Wait, you just bought this bike?"
I just bought it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I got rid of it because it wasn't
because
Florida doesn't have good sand
yeah,
to ride. It wasn't
going to be fun.
it was gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So I got rid of
At
it,
least
and that's when I got the
you
concourse.
got the concourse, and then for that we decided to go to the Keys,
Yeah.
test out the legs of that thing, see
Yep.
how it was on the highway, and so we rode down there. We stayed a night in Fort Lauderdale, and then
Yeah.
the next morning
We left early.
We met
A friend of mine who's a rider, but he's a Harley rider, and he does
and so he brought
Chicago to Chicago to Arizona. He took Route 66 the whole trip. And then they've done from Arizona to British Columbia.
So these are guys on like full baggers, like
They have at least 5 or 6 bikes. And then they have one guy who has to sacrifice that 1 year and has to drive a car. And the car has all the gear.
oh, you're talking about when they do those long distance
When they do those trips.
Yeah.
So he goes ahead and rides with them, but he's driving, and there's
they got
everything
in a tail vehicle, yeah.
And so we met them.
Yeah, we met them, and so down there they had these interesting stops, right? They're exits, but they're in the middle of the highway. Like
yeah. So the gas station is in the middle of the highway.
Yeah, between the north and south turnpike. It's
so
like you pull into the middle.
Yep.
And then it's what, 8 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning.
7:30 maybe.
Yeah.
7:30 maybe.
And there's like
they're having coffee and cigars.
Just coffee and cigars at a gas station in South Florida at 7 o'clock in the morning.
It's 7 something in the
like
morning.
7, 8 guys on giant Harleys, and you and I'm on the Tracer, and you're on the.
I had the Kawasaki.
Down the Kawasaki, yeah.
And we rode.
Yeah, so they went with us. We rode all the way down.
Went to Marathon.
Yeah, so
and turned back.
We went down there and had breakfast with them at some roadside diner, and then they continued on with us till we got to the hotel.
Yep.
Where we dropped our bags, and then we rode all the way to Key West.
All the way to Key West.
So we rode the entire the whole Keys in one day.
Yeah.
What was it, like 10 keys? Well, there's probably like 30 keys, but the ones the big keys, the major keys, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we took a bunch of pictures. We got to, which is one of the things I have is we went to the most southern part of the United States.
Yep.
And then right off we said, okay, so now we got to go to the most northern one.
Yeah.
I think it's Minnesota.
Or Wisconsin or somewhere up there. Yeah.
All the way up there. So we're looking that's part of one of the trips that we're going to do. Obviously a summer trip, obviously.
Right.
So that's on the list.
Yeah. So we did that. We did the
7
mile bridge, which if you're not familiar with Florida and the Keys, there's one stretch where it is exactly what it says. It's a bridge. It's 7 miles long. I got a nice video, which maybe I'll put up here. Just gorgeous. There's like, you can see the old bridge off to the side, and there's like
use it for fishing.
Yeah, there's like a tree growing in it.
That's where they filmed the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Oh yeah,
True Lies.
True
True
Lies.
Lies. They
Yeah, and
filmed
then
it on the old bridge.
right, and then most recently, the Roadhouse remake with Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal, they also filmed down there, like
Hmm.
on that bridge. So, but that's a beautiful place. The water is beautiful and
Yeah.
it's green and blue and like
It's
the Keys are a whole different vibe. I mean,
yeah.
talk about a different vibe between the mountains and
Hmm.
southern Florida, even between Miami and the Keys are completely because Miami's this bustling city.
Yeah.
Keys are laid back.
Yeah.
There's just there,
Short. It's shorts and we're on bikes, but we
yeah,
still
it's
move
flip
gear.
flops
But
and it's
yeah, some
it's huts with grass roofs and
tiki huts.
tiki huts
Yeah.
and then you got the whole Key West, you know, uh, what's his name, the writer,
Oh, yeah. Hemingway.
yeah, Hemingway, the whole Hemingway setup down there, and all the multicolored facades and
Hmm.
roofs, and there's chickens, wild chickens running everywhere,
All and cats.
and cats, six-fingered
Cats.
cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Cats all
Hemingway
over.
had like these famous six-toed cats, whatever, and
Yeah.
so they've kind of bred down there.
And the whole thing down there is it's a chill vibe. So we went there and it's like everybody just at the end of the day just goes and sits down and waits for the sunset, and you just look at it and the sun goes down, and then
You drink three more beers.
you keep drinking, and then so
And we went to a cigar bar down there.
yeah, we
Nice
we
vibe
stopped.
there. We hung out. It was just you and I and like one other dude in the whole.
The owner was there, and it
Yeah,
was
they had like they had
just
a
us sitting there.
yeah, it had a private area in the back
Hmm.
with a big banyan tree, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's real
and
cool.
and then we rode up to a place that they had recommended, and we had dinner there, and there was a band playing there.
Yeah, we're right on. I mean, right on the water. Everything's on the water there because
Yeah.
you can literally see both sides. You can see the Gulf and the Atlantic
Hmm.
on one side of the street and the other side of the street.
Hmm.
So it's a good place to go. It's not a trip you want to do like every year or whatever, but
Yeah,
it had been.
it's one of those trips that you have to do. Like you have to go to do the Cherahala. You have to go and enjoy it. You have to go
Yeah.
and ride and see the scenery. Well, this is the same thing but a different scenery.
The problem with the Keys for people that don't live in Florida is you have to ride all of Florida, which sucks because
Yeah.
Florida's a big, long, straight,
Long
boring
state.
state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miami to Key West is 4 hours.
Yeah, but you're talking like, Jacksonville to Miami.
Yeah, that's another 8.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, if you
or,
cross
or,
it,
or even from here, we're in the Tampa Bay area. You go from Tampa to
that
Miami
that
at 4 hours.
that's 4 hours,
If
and
you
you
get
have
good
to
traffic. Yeah.
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 And then the problem with the Keys is that it is one lane.
Most of it, a lot of it's one
One
lane.
lane. The US one is one lane going and coming. And if you get a car that breaks down, or somebody's hauling a boat, that's why they say that's why we met at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, because we knew
We have to be there
and if
early.
you can't really speed, you just got to take your time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not about going fast.
Yeah.
It's just about
It's the destination.
the destination. It's the scenery.
Hmm.
It's the whole vibe and all that. And we spent the day in Key West, and then we actually rode back up like halfway to Marathon for a hotel.
Yeah. Oh yes, I thought you were talking about the way back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So well, I'll say the next morning in quotes because
So there's a storm coming in. So the first time we were going to go to Key West, it was stopped because there was a
there was
storm.
like it wasn't a hurricane. It was just
It was
like
it was a storm that turned into a mini hurricane,
it was like
and nobody was
it was a
expecting it.
pop up tropical storm. It literally just appeared overnight. It didn't come across from Africa. It
Yeah.
just
Popped up.
I have a friend that lives down there, and he's like, "You're coming down here right now?
Yes.
You're crazy." And I'm like, "Well, it's fine." And
Yeah,
he
we're
goes,
leaving
"No."
tomorrow.
I'm
It's
like,
not.
"Put some rain gear on." He goes, "Dude, the wind is blowing sideways."
Yeah.
So we ended up canceling that trip and doing it
And
later.
we went another time. We were
Yeah.
going in December. We went in February. So on the way back, I'm looking at the radar, and it's like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm looking at the radar, and I go, wow, this is really, I mean, it's coming like this. So we're here, and it's going to hit us. Like if we're coming up,
It's coming
it's just
diagonal
gonna hit us
lines.
the
Whole
whole
day.
trip.
Yeah.
It's going to hit us 4 hours of rain. And I just kept thinking about that. And then like at 3:20 in the morning, I get up and I look at the storm and I go, all right, so it's going to be in Naples at like not at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 or 9. If we leave within the next hour, we'll make Naples and we'll have breakfast there, and we won't hit the storm because it'll just pass
Pass
us.
over us.
So at 3:30 in the morning, I go, Bryan, and he goes, what?
Yeah. From my perspective, I stayed up. He would, when we traveled with Jose,
Yeah.
his head hits the pillow and he's instantly asleep, which is not good for me because
And that's a soldier. Yeah, that's a soldier sleep. You put your head down, boom, you're out.
Yeah, he snores. So I've learned I bring earbuds now and I put them in while I'm sleeping. But I don't go to sleep like that. So
yeah, he sleeps.
We
You're a
got to the bar.
midnight sleep.
Yeah. So I'm like on my phone, playing games until about midnight, and then I go to sleep. 3 o'clock in the morning, my eyes open. He's standing over me holding the butcher's knife, and he's like, "No, not quite." But he's like, "Hey, I got an idea." And I'm like, "He's like, you want to hear it?" And I'm like, "Do I have a choice?"
Yeah.
So he's like, "How about this? We leave right now. We can get to Naples, which is a couple hours south of Tampa, just in time. We'll have breakfast there, and then
We'll miss the storm.
Well, there's a parking garage near one of the clinics
one of the offices,
and yada yada, and we can park, and the storm will go over, and then we'll go on the rest of the way to Tampa after the storm passes."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
yeah, let's go.
let's go.
So that was
it worked. It worked pretty much like you decided. Yeah, it worked.
It worked out well. We got a little bit of rain actually leaving because we were like, all right, let's just go. We got a little rain, but the big bulk of it was gone.
Yeah. And the problem was the parking garage was attached to like a mall, and it was Sunday.
It was closed. It was Sunday morning.
It was closed.
It was all closed till like noon.
And I just ate this big breakfast and a bunch of coffee, and I'm sitting there going, I really need a bathroom.
Yeah, there's no
rain out there, and none of the bathrooms were open.
Everything was closed.
Everything's closed, and I'm like, all right, I'm going. I put my rain gear on, and I rode to like the Walgreens around the corner or whatever. But anyway,
and so let's see what. So we got the barber trip, and we have the Vegas trip. So the Vegas trip, I think, you've done a lot of that trip,
right?
But not all of it.
So last year, while I was on my cross country trip, and we have a group chat with the guys, and I'm sending them photos. And one of the days that I rode, like I've talked about this before, but Colorado, that was my dream.
Yeah.
And
$1 million
highway. That's like bucket list type road. And I got up early that morning and I rode Route 160, which I knew nothing about, which is also incredible. It's
like 129 going to the tail of the dragon.
Right.
It's like you just take 129, you get to the tail, but then 129 is
it's all
beautiful.
It's all great. Yeah. So 160 was fantastic, and then I get to $1 Million Highway, and I stop in the town of Silverton, which is in the middle of a mining town. And I got to Silverton. I went inside to get a sticker for my bag, and I text the guys and I had gotten up super early that day, and I'd been on the bike already for like 8 hours or something. And I texted the guys like, when I get to Salt Lake City, I'm selling the bike and I'm flying home because I'm not going to top today. It can't get any better. I hadn't got to California or anything yet, but I'm like, it's not going to get better than this. Like, I might as well just sell the bike. And then right away he calls me. I sent the message and the phone rings. He's like, "What road is that? What are you talking about?" And I'm like, $1 Million Highway, dude. It's especially now October. Yeah. The leaves are all changing. It's gold. Everything is golden colored. It's fantastic, and it's just
you were still riding that day, and I'm drawing out a map.
Yeah,
I'm going. Okay, we could go here. We could go here. We could go here.
Yeah, he's like, I got this plan, and
I'm texting him the plan. He hasn't even finished his first trip.
I know. I'm like
planning of the next one.
I'm on like day 9 of a 20-day trip, and you're like planning the one I'm going to do next year. We're going to do right when you get back.
Yeah.
Never mind. My wife is already ready to divorce me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send her this text. From Jose.
Yeah.
So right away he starts planning. Another trip, which we're trying to work it out. We can go this year, maybe.
Yeah, we're trying to.
The problem is, all right. Let me tell you this about Jose. He is the busiest man in the entire. The fact that he's here today it's incredible because every weekend he's either with the Army, or he's doing something with his. He runs like 8,000 dental clinics all over the state and southeast or whatever, and then he's got like 3 cell phones. Even on our trip, he's driving the trailer up there, and he's got phones in each ear. He's like, "Yes, sir, Commander," and he hangs up that phone. "I'm gonna fire that doctor," and then hangs up the other phone. So he's always got like so many things going on.
There's always
and then you have to take your wife to Europe every other weekend.
Yeah.
Not quite.
There's family time where I have to go ahead. So and then there's because I have the bike and I have the cars, there's always something going on. But I plan it way in advance to see if I can make this happen. And
Right.
and the Chirahala trip you guys just did, I was on it. It was like, you guys picked this weekend because I was supposed to go.
Right.
That weekend I can go. And it ended up being that I had a two-star general put a meeting that was not, you could not miss this. This is like, you have to go to this.
Right.
So I had to go, and we canceled it. But this by September,
Probably saved you a crash though.
yeah, I could have gone down with you guys.
That would have been 1, 2, 3 all in a row.
So this time it's more feasible that we'll have time, that I'll have time to be able to go. So we have that trip. So the plan is to, if anybody, you guys want to join us,
you want to
if
come.
you want to meet us there somewhere, we can do that. It is to fly to Vegas, rent the bikes.
Yeah, we're picking Vegas. We're mainly just because a lot of flights in and out of there.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of bike rental there.
A lot of rental places.
It's hard to find. I was just trying to find a bike rental up in the Northeast somewhere. And other than those peer-to-peer services, which are kind of unreliable,
sometimes
it's hard. It's hard. You have to go to.
And we're trying to get 4 or 5 bikes. So
right, yeah. If we want to do multiple people, you got to have a place that can accommodate, and you can rent them way in advance.
Yeah. So that's the plan. We fly to Vegas, we pick up the bikes, and then we ride to Utah, some national parks.
Maybe I was looking up Zion. It's really pretty. Yeah,
Zion.
I've been to Arches already, so I mean, you could do it.
Zion National Park.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another one. It's a little further north. Mojave or Moab. So there's
there's a bunch right there. Because they're all right there. Moab, Zion, and the Arches. They're all in a little triangle. Yeah.
Then go to Colorado.
Yeah, because that's
highway.
Good thing about $1 Million Highway, it's just inside
of Colorado.
It's on the western,
the southwestern tip.
Yeah, so you can ride right into it. Go Silverton to Ouray, and then from there head back down to
all the way down to Flagstaff, Sedona.
Yeah,
and that'll be a stopping point, and then go from Sedona up to Vegas and return to bikes.
Yeah, the ride into Sedona is one of the most beautiful places I saw.
Yeah, I've done it in car.
In a car, yeah. It's beautiful no matter what, but on a bike it's so different just because you're just looking at these. It's like riding into the Grand Canyon. It's crazy.
Bikes are dangerous. I get it. And we do stupid things on them. I get that too. But there's nothing like getting on a bike. I mean, you really have to go ahead. You have to get comfortable in doing, riding far distances. But once you overcome that, because I remember because I used to ride motocross, so I'm always on dirt. I mean, I was always riding off road. So it wasn't, I wasn't on highways, especially not going, 80 miles an hour on a highway. And when I got the Bonneville, a friend of mine said, I was like, I'll take side roads. And he was like, you have to get on the highway.
Yeah.
And not only is it, he says, it's actually, you're more protected on the highway because everybody's going one way.
Right.
You're not, you take side roads and you get to a stop.
Intersections.
It takes a stop. Yeah, intersections are where most things happen. And so bikes are great. You go out and ride. Get a bike. It's so much fun. That kind of trip,
orders.
Hey, doctor's orders.
Yeah.
That's a trip that a car isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
The car is not going to cut it. You have to do it on a bike.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And we have the barber trip, the barber vintage festival. That once a year, we're looking to go to that. Somebody wants to go and meet us there. We're looking to get VIP tickets for Friday and Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, and then come home Sunday.
Come home Sunday.
It's it's like a 3-day event. They have vintage races. They have the museum there. They have camping there, which I'm not planning on camping.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, we have a spot. So
yeah,
through my son, who's going to be living in Birmingham for a year. We're crashing at his place. That's it.
Yeah. So
he gets the floor.
But it's become like, motorcycle Woodstock. People just they come there, they bring their trailers, like mobile homes, and
park for they tailgate for 3 days.
Tailgate for 3 days. Everybody's on their bikes parked for free. I saw that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like I said, watch vintage races, go around, check out everybody else's bikes, and it's.
And who were we talking to last week that mentioned, but you could also go in Alabama. There's this area, this road, this park that has this waterfall. You could go there too.
Oh, that was probably Greg.
Greg was mentioning it.
Milam, not
Milam. Yeah, Greg was mentioning because huge camper beast. He said, no, you could go also you could camp at this place.
Well, maybe if we have time, we can make an extra day and just do like a little bit of that frog loop or something.
The frog loop.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's right out of Atlanta. Yeah.
Yep. So we have that, and
Yeah, that's gonna be
Come
fun.
join us.
Yeah.
Mhm,
All right. So let me ask you this:
mhm.
You've got also since I've known you, you've had a collection of
I,
classic
of
cars.
cars, I've had
Yeah.
cars too.
They're not all classic, but like collectible cars.
Collectible, yeah.
Right. You
So
got your regular, daily driver,
yeah,
boring,
I have
uh,
my Toyota.
hybrid.
My everybody makes fun of it. My Toyota hybrid. That, but I put I get
But you drive a
36.
lot.
I
Yeah.
drive a lot. I put last year 35,000
That's a
miles
lot of
on it.
miles. Yeah.
Yeah, 35,000 miles, and I get 36 miles to the gallon, so it works out fine. But when we first met,
The Mustang.
I had the '66 Mustang. I should have never got rid of that car.
That was a keeper.
I love that car.
Yeah.
I really should have kept it. But I switched it because I went to see, and we'll talk about movies later, but I went to see Ford versus Ferrari. And I got hooked. I was like, look at that Cobra,
Yeah.
those vintage Cobras. So I went ahead and I walked into to a classic dealer place here in the Tampa area, and drove up and left with a Cobra with a 65. Well, it wasn't a real one. A
It
real
was a
one is $1
kit.
million
Yeah.
kit car,
Yeah. Just
but it had a V8, a 302
you're
V8.
a dentist, not an orthodontist.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
You're an orthodontist.
I'm not an orthodontist.
Buy the real one.
Yeah, an orthodontist or a normal surgeon. I'm a dentist.
Yeah.
So it had a 302 V8, but it had drum brakes.
And
And
yeah.
this is crazy, driving 80 miles an hour on this car that weighs like 2,200 pounds with, what was it, like 325 horsepower I mean, it has no protection whatsoever.
Yeah. Barely had a
Nothing.
seatbelt in it. Yeah.
Barely had a seatbelt,
And no brakes
and no brakes.
and like old fashioned steering.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
no power steering, no disc brakes. It had drum brakes. So, but it was fun.
it was fun
It was fun.
in a terrifying way.
Well, yeah, yeah.
It's like
I was more scared of that than the bike.
it's like riding a Street Fighter V4 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that power and no.
And then I had that one, and then one day, we were talking
A friend of ours. Yeah.
to a friend of ours, and he goes, "Hey, my cousin has a car. He likes your car. He wants to take a look at it." So we
You guys did a
drove it, and it was like, okay, let's switch pinks. And,
Yeah,
you
it
used to
was.
say,
Yeah.
it was like, I like yours and you like mine, and
Yeah.
let's just
So he had
switch
what
titles.
will you have now? It's a 2002,
A 2005
5
911 Carrera
convertible.
convertible,
Yeah.
and it so when I get plates this August, it's a classic now.
Yeah.
It turns 20
But it's in
years.
great shape though. It's beautiful.
It's in great shape. It's
Yeah.
in great
It
shape.
looks like a brand new car.
Looks like a new car, because this style was the one that they say that considered to be the nicest of the styles until it became, modern enough that it has all the computers to help you do that. This one doesn't have any of that.
So how do you compare driving a car like that Porsche
Mhm.
to riding a motorcycle?
The motorcycle is more fun.
Yeah.
The motorcycle is you have to be way more in control. The car, even though it's a classic car, it's still a Porsche, and you can go. It handles unbelievably well for a
Right.
20-year-old car. So that in itself, it's just fun to drive because the handling on it. But because it has no computers, you still have to be a very good driver.
Right.
So, but it's fun, and everywhere, you pump gas and somebody goes, "Oh, what model is that?" "No, it's a 997.1." And we start talking about it. And then also when I had the Cobra, it was also every time I stopped to pump
Well,
gas,
that car just
that car, it was,
because
there was a story every time somebody,
you don't see those every day.
yeah. So that one,
Yeah.
so those are fun things that, the toys.
The toys. Yeah.
As soon as the kids left home, all of a sudden I had money. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I didn't make more. I just had more.
Well, yeah, you don't realize like
How
how much
expensive they are.
how expensive kids are. Yeah. And you've got two very successful
I had
young adults.
they do very well. They
Yeah.
do very well. I'm
Yeah.
happy with them. They did not end up in jail or a stripper pole. So so I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't want to see your son strip. Oh, you're talking about your daughter. Never mind. I'm sorry. I got it backwards.
Yeah, I don't want to see him either, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they're very successful in their own right, and we're happy.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. So I was starting to ask you this earlier
Hmm.
when we started talking about your bikes. So
Hmm.
you've had the dirt bike,
Hmm.
you've had I guess you call it a long distance cruiser with that concourse.
Hmm.
You've had a standard, Bonneville.
Yep.
You've got a hooligan bike, an MT09,
Yep.
and then now you recently
I got the
you asked me what my dream bike was, and then you
yeah.
went and bought it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
So, but here's the thing. You know a lot about motorcycles.
yeah,
I know a lot about riding. I like to ride. It's not I don't know enough about bikes, maybe because I don't have enough time
yeah.
to study them and look at them and because we've talked about,
Well, I'm
you
I'm
know,
I'm
which
always I read every article. I'm watching every video review, and so. But anyway, you bought a Multistrada
I bought
Rally
a,
Edition, which we
a
mentioned before on the
yeah, the
last week's show.
Ducati Multistrada Rally Edition,
It's got the new V4 in it.
the
It's
V4 engine,
160 horsepower, and
no, 180 horsepower.
excuse me.
Well, 180 horsepower,
Yeah,
and it has the sensor for cruise control. The lights have just
yeah, the
just like cars. It has
adaptive cruise control.
adaptive cruise control, and then it has sensors
Yeah, yeah,
the mirrors.
right.
So if a car gets close to you, your light goes on, so you see, that there's a
Blind spot.
car
Yeah,
there.
blind spot detection.
Blind spot detection. And if you're going under 40, it only uses 2 cylinders. So it works on 2 cylinders until you pick up speed, and you put the cruise at 80, and
Yeah,
just let
it's
it
got
go.
luggage. It's got
Came with
everything,
luggage.
crash bars and lights and
Yeah.
everything you can get.
That's a comfortable bike.
Which that
And we took it off
not
road
not
the
to
other day.
sidetrack too much.
Yeah.
We made a road trip out of that.
Yeah.
That was Bonnie's last ride.
Yeah.
We
That was a trip. Hey,
he,
what are you
he
doing? What are you doing in the next couple of hours?
yeah, he literally like, what are you doing? What are you doing tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
I don't know, nothing. You want to ride to Miami and pick up a motorcycle?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are my plans. That's how I plan.
Yeah. So we literally I got up 7 o'clock in the morning and beelined it down to Miami, him on the Bonneville,
Yeah. I was on the Bonneville.
and then me on the Tracer.
On the Tracer. Your Tracer you had what, like 200
No,
miles?
sorry, no, that's Tracy. I was on the Tiger.
On the Tiger.
I had just bought the Tiger.
Yeah, the
so,
Tiger had 200 miles.
I had 200 miles on it, which that helped me get to my 600-mile service.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's see how it does on the highway. And
Yeah.
we went down there.
That's right.
Yeah. There and back in one day. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Miami, picked it up, got the bike, had breakfast with my son, lunch with my son, and came back.
Yeah.
And I had a bike, and this is the third time, and it's probably going to end up being the last time that I showed up at my house with a new vehicle without anybody knowing. I just, opened the garage, and they just look at me.
So
and
you
go,
got to, sometimes the wife may not notice. I actually thought if I bought a red Tiger and just put it where the Tracer was parked, would she?
She won't even notice.
She would, but I came home with a gray one, so I had to tell her because, you know, she doesn't know enough about them. I think they're close. They're similar enough looking that if it was red, she might have been like, "Does that like? Did you do something? Oh, I added a new fairing to it."
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
She won't know.
Yeah.
So then I had the Multistrada. And I'm hoping to keep this one.
Right.
Although you gave me the in all fairness, the Yamaha MT09.
Yeah.
I promised it to my son.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, he's going to start to ride. He said he got his motorcycle endorsement, but because of his school, he just doesn't have enough time. So he hasn't ridden yet. So I promised him that I was going to give him that bike. So you already gave me like my possible next one.
Okay.
That I'm looking at. That I went, that's actually a really nice bike. The BMW M.
Oh, the
M1000 XR. XR.
Dude, I mean, that bike is a beautiful. It's a beast. It's inline four, tons of power. It's also very similar. It doesn't have the off-road ability. It's more of a touring bike. So it doesn't have the off-roading that your Multistrada does.
Multistrada.
But other than that, it's like it's an insane bike.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
It's a sport bike on stilts. So like you could track day that bike. You could ride it across the country.
Mm-hmm.
They have the S1000 XR also, which is a little bit cheaper and almost the same level.
Mm-hmm.
The paint scheme on the M though is pretty gorgeous and stuff.
Maybe it's the S. I don't remember right.
Yeah, the S is more affordable. It's still expensive though.
But it's a street. It's more street.
Well, the S and the M is like the racing one, so it's just got a little bit more oomph, But it's they're both gorgeous bikes, and you wouldn't do wrong with either one.
Yeah. So that's on the.
So anyway, the question was, you've got like dirt bikes and sport bikes and hooligan bikes and like what do you think Do you have a preferred style as far as both looks and comfort and like fun? Like how would you rank those?
So so here's the thing. I will ride and drive depending the vehicle I have.
Hmm,
Okay, so if I know that I want to ride a little more aggressive, I will probably take the Yamaha.
yeah.
Like I'm in the mood to go ahead and I'll take that MT-09
That
because
people don't understand that bike, even though it only has 119 horsepower, which I say
yeah,
only, that's
yeah,
plenty of horsepower.
but it weighs nothing
It weighs nothing,
and
and
it's a wheelie machine.
it's
It
instant
just
torque. It,
it just
even though
picks up like
even though the torque
motocross. Like
numbers on it, if you read the torque numbers and you compare them to some other bikes, they're similar or not even as good. But
yeah,
because I had the same engine in my Tracer,
the Tracer.
and that bike was the same way. Like it has basically the same numbers as my Tiger, but it's not. They're different bikes. Like
Yep.
the
Yeah, the MT-09 is a different bike.
yeah
So if I'm looking to have a little more fun, I will take the MT-09.
yeah
And then same thing on the cars. Like if I'm going to dinner and just gonna go ahead and go, then on a Saturday afternoon, then I'll just take the Toyota. It's simple. But if I want to arrive someplace in style and have a conversation with people because they know about cars when you go to car events, I'll take the Porsche. And
or
there's always a conversation.
if you need to say, I don't know, this probably never happened, but if you needed to take your wife to the emergency room
The emergency room.
as fast as possible, you'd probably bring the Porsche.
If
Although
only been the Porsche.
no room for your leftovers, as I found out trying to give them to you. So this is a little bit of a side story here.
Yeah.
Our friend John Ross, who was on episode 1, he
Yeah.
was having his 40th birthday party, and we
Yep.
went to a really nice steak place
Went to
up
a
here,
nice
Prime
steak
88
place.
up there,
Yeah.
Brooksville. Yeah, and had a little private room. It was
Yeah.
nice, just like 6 of us, right?
Six of us.
3 of us and our wives.
Two that couldn't make it. It was supposed to be eight. We ended up being six.
Right. So
And
we're
the dinner's over. The
yeah,
dinner's
dinner's over. His wife orders a tea.
Yeah, and
He's going to get the bill or whatever, and then all of a
and
sudden she's like,
I
"I don't
don't I,
feel well."
I don't feel well. Why is the room going dark?
Yeah, we're like,
And
"What?"
I'm like, what? And she starts to get sweaty, and I go, hold on a second, and I run out and I tell the valet, give me the car keys. I turn on the car. I leave the door open, park it right in front, and
John,
go inside. And by the time
John and I, we're on the phone with 911.
John's already called 911. I
As
said,
soon as you walked out of the room, she literally like started tilting on her
yeah,
chair.
to fall.
Yeah,
So I went ahead and I said, no. By the time the ambulance get here, I'll be there before. So I had the car ready. I throw her in the car. I mean, we went ahead
we
and just
pretty much,
shoved her
yeah,
into the car. And when I get to the light's red, and she starts to go, I can't swallow. I can't swallow, which is part of an anaphylactic reaction to something she had. We don't know. And she starts to go, I can't swallow. I can't swallow. So I U-turn on red and just floor it,
yeah.
floor it. And then right behind me, blue lights start flashing behind me. And I said, either he's going to chase me to the hospital and give me a ticket, or she's going to die. So I said, look, I don't think I want her to die.
Yeah.
So I floor it and just keep going and go in and out around cars. And I turn into the hospital, which was actually close by,
Yeah.
and go into the hospital. And the cop ended up being really nice. I don't know, maybe because you guys called 911, maybe that's why they were going
Yeah, I don't know.
to the
To the
to the restaurant, or he knew something was going on. But he gets out of the car and he looks at me, and he looks at me and he goes, do you need help? And I said, yes, I do. So he helped me get her out of the car, put her in a wheelchair. The nurses came out right away, and they took her into into the uh, the ER. And yeah, so the Porsche worked out.
yeah.
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 And I apologized to the police officer. I went to him and I said, look, my apology. I said, I'm sorry. I would not normally do that. I wouldn't run away from the
Unless
cops.
I'm on the motorcycle. No, I'm kidding.
On the bike, that's no.
No,
I would not run away. If I get pulled over, I'd
here's the
stop.
thing. I've been pulled over now 1, 2, 3, 3 or 4 times on the motorcycle, and the second I see him and the lights come on, pull over.
Yep.
Haven't gotten a ticket.
Yeah. Actually, I got a story for you about when we got pulled over one time. It was the first time that we rode in a group besides going to the Citrus Key. So Citrus Key, we were riding, but this was like a Saturday group ride.
Yeah.
and you were going last. You were behind.
That's when I got pulled over. Yeah, so I'm
That's the first time I think that you, first or second time you got pulled over.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it. Everybody took off.
Yeah, no.
When I turned and I see that you're not behind me.
Well, it was you and I on our Bonnevilles and like 5
Yeah.
guys on Ducatis,
Yeah.
and they were all hauling ass.
Yep.
And we were going down this little country road, which we go down all the same road we go down all the time. And
Which is why
the cop was sitting there because people were complaining about motorcycles every Saturday going fast. So he was sitting there waiting. I was not going as fast as everybody else because I was last, and I was like, I'm not going that fast. And at the end of the road is a stop sign. I saw him, and I was like, if he pulls out, he started to pull out. So I didn't even turn and stop. Everybody else took off, and I just pulled over, and he laughed because he was like, "Oh, where's your friends go?" And I was like, "I don't know those guys, just kidding around,
Well, what I was going to tell you is the soldier in me kicks in because they stopped like 2 blocks later, right?
Yeah, they were trying to get away. Yeah,
And I go, we got to go back.
Yeah.
You don't leave a man behind. This is like, we're all in, or we're, we all go to jail, or we all get, nothing happens. And they're like, no, that's not how the motorcycle community works. Last one has to take it.
Yeah.
And we go. I'm like, I don't like that. Like,
yeah. So
to me, that was like one of the first fights. I said, I don't leave a man behind. So I stopped, and I was gonna turn back when you were coming up, and he said, "Oh, he gave me a break."
Yeah. So he asked me, he goes, "Oh man, people have been complaining about that, people racing down that road or whatever." And I go, yeah, I know these guys are going a little too fast or whatever. And he said, then he goes, "Hey, are you going to go out to Heyman Road or whatever?" So
Hyman, yeah.
And I was like, I think so. And he goes, "That's a good road or whatever." So he was recommending roads to me,
Yeah.
So anyway, he gives me a warning. He leaves, and I call the guy that was in charge of the ride that was riding first, and he answers. He goes, "Oh my God, what happened?" And then, just being a smart ass, I go, "Well, he didn't want me. He wanted the leader, so I gave him your name. He's on his way to your house." And he was like, "What? Oh my God!" And I was like, "I don't know where you live." I'm like, "Man, I'm kidding. I didn't get your name. I told him I didn't know you guys,
Yeah.
So anyway,
So we waited for you.
yeah, I came around the corner. You guys were all waiting.
And we were waiting, and I was going to turn back, and I saw you coming up, and then
Yeah. Anyway, don't run from the cops. It ain't worth.
Yeah,
it ain't worth your life.
It's not. It's not.
Even if you're going, 120 miles an hour, they're gonna take your bike. It's still not worth.
Yeah.
You see I see these videos all the time where occasionally the guy gets away or whatever, but most of the time they end up crashing.
Yeah, but they don't have plates. It's like they're out to do this.
They're out to do it. Yeah. I'm just too old for that shit. I'm not. Yeah. I got a business. I got family. I want to go home at the end of the day.
Yeah. Exactly.
If it's a little poor,
Yeah. So, but that the cop that when he stopped at the hospital.
Yeah.
I told him, hey, listen, I'm sorry, I wouldn't normally do this. Here's my license. He goes, no, you're fine.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. So anyway, back to your bikes.
Yep.
Which
the most fun.
Yeah, the most fun you think is the MT-09?
The MT-09.
Yeah, and so which would you rather have on a long? Now you've had a little experience on the multi or the concourse
to go distance.
Yeah.
Well, definitely the multistrada, and the reason is because the concourse does not have cruise control.
Yeah, well, it was a 20.
It was an older. It was 2016.
It was 2016. I think
it
didn't have ride by wire, so it couldn't have cruise control.
It had like a little thing that you switch on, but it
was more like a thumb. It was a thumb grip. Yeah.
Then you had to hit it again. You hit it again, and I did a 6-hour trip to like Panama City. And it was terrible because 6 hours of holding things, and now that's why I got the multistrada. I mean that cruise control, electronic cruise control.
I think they discontinued the concourse.
Yeah, they stopped making.
The problem is like the entire biking community just moved away from those big heavy tour. I mean, other than Gold Wings and Willys. But most of the companies are moving towards adventure touring.
Yeah, adventure touring.
Yeah, or like the Tracer or the Tiger, which the GT is a touring bike, and actually now they've got even more road bias versions, and even the Harley, their adventure bike, they put out a street version this year. The Pan America, they've got an S version this year or whatever, like a street version. It's got the smaller front wheel and stuff. So yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the multistrada
is too tall.
I'm not 6'2" like you. At 5'9", I tippy toe. Yeah. So I'm standing at the light, and I either have to get a little bit of my butt out to be able to put my foot down, or I got to sit in the middle and just
it's a little top heavy when you're sitting still.
Yeah.
So you gotta
but when you're riding,
When you're riding, it's
it's
like a Cadillac. Yeah.
easy to ride.
Very
So yeah, so the long distance, I would say the Multistrada,
right.
and city riding and enjoying,
We
definitely
haven't had a lot of experience
BMT-09.
yet, but we've done a little bit of dirt roads on the
And the
big.
dirt roads, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fun. But I did that test ride that we did the other day with bags and everything on it to see how it felt.
Yeah.
Because I haven't ridden a bike that heavy on dirt. So I put everything on and rode it. And then when we got to sand, I was like, yeah, not today.
Not today. Yeah.
Not today. On our next one, I'll go ahead and maybe take some weight off and go on the dirt or go ahead and add all the weight and just suck it up, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it. If you go down, take one for the team, lift it up, get back on and ride.
Right. Right. Okay. So next, we're going to go to a little bit of our cultural recommendations. We're going to talk
Hmm.
about some movies and TV shows for a bit.
Hmm.
Um, you you were telling me that you saw The Accountant too. What'd you think of it?
I did. I saw The Accountant too. The number one was better.
Definitely.
Um,
I just watched it like last night by myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only
It's on Paramount Plus right now for free
yeah
if you
yeah
got Paramount. It was just in the theater like a week ago.
one was better.
Yeah.
This one isn't bad. I
So
liked it so much more when it wasn't as good as the first.
yeah. So then
It was good. I mean, but not.
Yeah, like-
I'd rather see it at home on my big screen,
yeah
on Paramount or
yeah that's what I watched it at home.
Prime Video or something.
Right.
But now I have Ballerina on my list to go ahead and see. That's probably when it's come out this weekend.
It's out. Yeah, it started
Okay.
like on Thursday.
Thursday.
So that Ballerina is
probably
from
see it this
the
week.
John Wick universe.
John Wick,
And he's
yeah.
actually in it.
Yeah.
He's in it quite a bit. And
Yeah.
right now, you might see a review from me. Ballerina is the latest installment in the John Wick universe, and I've got to say, this one hits in all the right ways. If you've been a fan of the Wick flicks, you'll appreciate how Ballerina manages to carve out its own space while still staying true to the franchise. The choreography and directing are genuinely creative. Think John Wick's signature violence, but with a more refined, almost dance-like precision. The action doesn't feel bloated or overindulgent like it did at times in John Wick 4. Here, every punch, kick, and bullet has purpose, no fatigue, just flow. The 2-hour runtime flies right by. Ana de Armas absolutely cements herself as a legit action star. She's not just there to look cool, although she does. She moves like someone who's been training with stunt teams for years. You believe every hit she takes and every move she throws down, including creative fights with ice skates, flamethrowers, and an entire box of grenades. Her presence commands the screen, and yes, Keanu Reeves is in it as the Baba Yaga himself. The film smartly places itself between John Wick 2 and John Wick 3, so we get a substantial Keanu appearance that feels earned. It's not a cameo, it's not a handoff. It helps ground the story in the broader universe while still letting Ballerina stand tall on its own. What I loved the most was it wasn't trying to outwick John Wick. It was more focused, it was tighter, it builds on the lore of the Ballerina Assassin Training Program and the Continental, but it doesn't feel like homework. There's no sequel fatigue, no baggage, just a fresh chapter with style, grit, and heart. Honestly, I think I liked it a little better than John Wick 4. The pacing, the character focus, and the stripped-down intensity made it feel more personal and impactful. If you're into high-octane, beautifully brutal action flicks that respect your time, Ballerina is a worthy spinoff. Check it out. Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and I want to go see it this weekend.
Yeah.
I haven't
That's my plan. I was supposed to have already seen it. So if you're watching this, maybe I haven't seen it yet. And if right now you're watching a review, then then I saw it.
You saw it. Okay.
Yeah. So as far as other recommendations, I would definitely recommend, if you have Paramount Plus, watching Mobland.
It's on my list. So my daughter is spending a little time with us, and she was watching
3.
1883.
So that's from the Taylor Sheridan universe, which is Yellowstone.
And I'm just walking by and I go, oh, what episode is that? Oh, this is episode 2. Well, let me see what happens. Oof, I saw the whole thing.
Yeah, so I've been trying for years to get people to get on board with the spinoff ones,
Mm-hmm.
because the Yellowstone kind of took the world by storm 6-7 years ago whenever it came out. And it's good, it's entertaining, but it's more of a mob. It's really a mob show set in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a lot of murder and political schemes and double crossing and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But the spinoffs, the first one was 1883. That's the one you watched?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, 1883. And then it goes to 1923.
23, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think they're doing another one like set maybe 10 more years in the future.
So I saw the 1883, and now I've seen about half of
So
1923.
1883 is the Dutton family's journey from the east to the west
Yeah.
to get the homestead, or they end
Hmm.
up building the Dutton Ranch by Yellowstone and all that stuff. And it's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, which are real
Yes.
life husband and wife,
Yeah.
and then they've got their hot young blonde daughter who
Hmm.
narrates the entire show, and then they've
Hmm.
got a little boy, and yeah,
And there's a lot to it with the daughter. I mean, there's a big reason that the daughter,
is narrating it. Yeah,
like, she has a big part of why they are in Montana
right.
in for the future. So you got to see it.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's a great story. It's
hmm
got fantastic cinematography. Sam Elliott is in it,
hmm
being just top notch Sam Elliott,
hmm
mustache and all. And yeah, it's got a whole bunch of different storylines, all these people on these wagon trains. You really see what it took to nowadays you get on a Southwest flight for $199. You fucking fly to Montana
yeah,
for 100,
yeah,
$199. You're there in 5 hours or whatever. Now, back then it was like risking your entire life and your
five
family
months.
fortune
Yeah,
to maybe get there, or maybe you just get buried on the trail on the way. Like,
that's it.
yeah, it was a rough,
Mm.
it was a real, you had to really be an explorer back then, or an adventure.
Which is
Yeah,
why I think they consider the West to be what it is, because those that went there to pioneer it
pioneer. That was the word. You got it.
are looking, we're looking for that. And they were that type of adventure people that
Yeah.
went ahead and said, let's go, let's find a better place, and built it.
What
And they did.
what Taylor Sheridan's done from being just a regular actor, he was in like Sons of Anarchy and stuff, like to being like, screw you, I'm gonna make my own stuff and making Yellowstone. But anyway,
Right.
so he went from like, writing a couple of movies to like having this entire TV universe now.
Hmm.
They got another spinoff show coming off uh the Duttons, so 66 Ranch or whatever, and they've got another one coming with the daughter and the son-in-law.
That he reminds me of Key and Peele,
Yeah,
that now he's gone into being a director,
director. Yeah,
and
he makes these fantastic
he
horror
makes
movies,
these really crazy
like
horror
heady,
movies.
smart horror movies. Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, they start acting, end up being directors, and
yeah, and writing, and he writes almost all these himself, and he does the one with Stallone, Oklahoma King,
Tulsa.
Tulsa King,
Yeah.
Tulsa King, and then he also does Landman with Billy Bob.
Oh, Landman.
That's fantastic too. Like, it's
Oh,
crazy, these universities building out. He gets all these like top-notch actors to be in them.
that's a good show,
Yeah.
Landman.
So, but anyway,
Forgot about.
Mobland is kind of in the same vein of like a Yellowstone-ish, but it takes place in London. Tom Hardy,
Hmm.
he's like the family fixer, and they got Pierce Brosnan just hamming it up, using it. So we were talking about this with our buddy Sam the other day at the cigar bar. So I was like, "What a terrible Irish accent!" And then Sam says, "Well, he's Irish," and I go, "Yeah, but it's not right.
Mm-mm.
Something's wrong about his accent." So I looked it up. He was technically born in Ireland, but he moved to London when he was like 2 years old. So he grew up speaking proper
British
English,
English.
British English. Yeah. So he's, because I saw an interview where he's like, "Yeah, I found this guy who's supposedly from this certain neighborhood, and I copied his accent, and that's what he's
Hmm.
doing." So he's doing this accent. But anyway, he's fantastic in the show. He's like this lecherous old guy that's got birds everywhere, like chicks everywhere, and he's married to Helen.
Helen Mirren.
Yeah, he's married to Helen Mirren,
Mm.
and she's like just. It's so funny, like these people have these careers, and then like suddenly they have like a resurgence. They're like in
Hmm.
everything, because she's also in 1923
1923.
with Harrison Ford, which is crazy they got him in that.
Hmm.
So yeah, Mobland it's got all these great actors, and the king from House of the Dragon, uh, Paddy, what's his name, the British actor. He plays the son in it. Anyway, really good, gory, violent, funny. I recommend that too.
Mobland it is.
Yeah,
I will, that and Ballerina. Gotta
yeah,
watch
yeah,
Ballerina.
yeah. Ballerina is gonna be good.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, I think we've killed an hour here. If you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. Recommend it to a friend, like I said before. Share, like. Anyway,
Oh man.
thanks for hanging around, and go ride a motorcycle.